Hello there, jury. Welcome back to the only slightly judgy podcast. We're your hosts, Aiden and Sean. We are your local cinema podcast where we obsess over all things fiction and media. Now, today we have a very special episode planned for you guys, in which we are going to be talking about the godfather of all franchises. Um, you know, the one ring to rule them all, although not Lord of the Rings. That's a separate episode. Today we are talking about none other than the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Sean, what's your initial kind of like experience with the MCU, do you think?
I'll say like all of us, our age, I guess plus minus five, we all grew up at some point during what you would consider the peak of the MCU in terms of popularity and box office success and whatnot. But that was like wow, what a time to grow up. Especially like for us, we grew up during like the middle parts and like I guess close to the conclusion of the Infinity Saga, and watching all that build up in real time while we were like impressionable kids was just something that cannot be replicated, possibly ever.
Yeah. It's absolutely insane to see the kind of impact that the MCU has had. And today we will be ranking the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe with a tier list. Yep. So,
Yep.
here it is. Here's our
And
tier list.
yep, and for those of you who will be watching the video, the our placings within the tiers are in no particular order unless we think something deserves to be at the very top or very bottom of that specific tier.
Yeah. So, should we get going?
Yep. And with that being said, the first one on our list today is the very first movie that kicked it all off, 2008 Iron Man 1. So thoughts?
Classic. Classic. You know, putting aside the whole RDJ comeback story of the century, um, it's kind of crazy that Marvel started here, seeing as how, you know, they had to sell off all their major IPs like Fantastic Four, X-Men, in order to get some money, and they had a lot of places to still start with, but yet they chose what at the time was a C grade team with C grade characters in the comics, and now everybody on the planet Earth and their mother knows who Iron Man is, which is insane. Um,
Yep.
yeah, I think it's great.
I think it's really impressive that if you like in hindsight, they kind of nailed their like what would be known as their formula on basically the first try, where it is just from start to finish just a really solid watch, and it obviously sets up a lot of the character beats that Tony will be going through in the franchise as a whole. But even on its own, I still find it a really solid watch.
Yeah, I think the first Iron Man still holds up really well. It's a really good characterization of Tony's kind of internal like conflict in which like he has to determine who he is based on this new thing he's created, and yeah, I think for the most part it holds up pretty well.
Yep. So where do we think this goes?
um Ignoring the fact that it kickstarted the whole thing, it's I think Iron Man 1 is still a pretty solid movie. I would put it in an A.
Yeah, an A is reasonable. It is kind of like the gold standard of like I guess your average good but not exceptional MCU movie,
Yeah, and considering how
if you ask me.
it's like a superhero genre, it's a superhero origin that majority of audiences didn't know at the time. So yeah.
Yeah, and now it's become classic, so like the rest is history.
Yeah.
Yep. And moving on, we have Incredible Hulk with
Hmm.
Edward Norton playing Bruce Banner and the Hulk.
Edward Norton's Bruce Banner was not bad. Um, I don't remember much of it because I haven't rewatched it recently. Um, but I did appreciate like his whole he did pull off Hulk very well. Like Hulk, not that Hulk's a very complicated character to pull off. Like he definitely gets his nuances like later in modern comics, but the whole um movie of Hulk really thrived on Hulk being Hulk, the fight scenes, the Harlem fight. Yeah. What What do you think?
I would say it was a bit of a frustrating watch where like I would say I would agree with you where the first half of the movie, especially where he was on the run and trying to control himself, I
Yeah.
think that part with like the constant threat of like the Hawks surfacing, that was done really well. But if you ask me, once they really introduce players like Matty Ross or like I guess the military and Abomination, it becomes a slightly worse movie. So in general, it's just I'll say it's frustrating. Like
Yeah, after
I
like
didn't enjoy the
midway
rewatch.
through the second act, it kind of falls apart. Abomination's really uninteresting. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It really kind of loses its direction in a sense, and I think that's the trend with a lot of the Marvel movies that are considered bad. I think they're only considered bad because they're like, where is this going? Right? There's like no sense of direction in whatsoever. So yeah, I would put
yeah.
Incredible Hulk
We'll do.
maybe.
Oh, do C.
Yeah, yeah, I'll put it at a
I
C.
was gonna say C.
I don't think it's
Yeah,
as
it's reasonable.
bad as some things that are going to come later. I don't think it deserves a D. So I think C. Yeah.
Yeah, C is fine. Okay, and our next one will be the first sequel, Iron Man 2.
Oh.
Iron Man 2. For this one, I would say that um I do enjoy my unserious villains from time to time, but I feel like Justin Hammer's inclusion in this just really like kind of sinks the whole movie for me
Yeah.
as like a major antagonist, especially with the final fight. If you could even call it a fight where they just like stand around and start blasting like drones. Like any thoughts?
Yeah, the final fight is literally. So anyway, I just started blasting. um, I think the standout of Iron Man 2 is the War Machine. God, that suit
Yeah,
looks so good. That suit looks amazing. Um, yeah, like you said before, just that hammer, really fun antagonist. Um, would have liked a little bit more substance, but I don't know if you could go any more substance with something like Justin Hammer. Um, yeah.
yeah,
Iron Man 2, probably the weakest out of the three, in my opinion.
yeah. I would agree. Like another standout part for me would be like the fight at the racetrack with
Mm,
I'm not sure what the villain's name was, but that was
Whiplash.
really fun. Whiplash, yeah,
Whiplash.
yeah, that's him. That was really fun,
Yeah. On and
especially with
the suitcase suit up. Oh god.
yeah, yeah,
Classic.
the
Iconic.
sweet stuff.
Yeah.
Mm.
How do we feel about a
Where would
B?
a B? Yeah, a B makes sense.
B, yeah.
I was like it's mediocre. Yeah, a B is fine.
Yeah. What's next? Next should be Thor, right?
Next one is yeah the first Thor. How are we feeling about Thor 1?
I think Thor 1 has a very unique kind of Shakespearean vibe to it that the other two Thor movies and majority and the rest of the MCU really doesn't feel like it. I think the first Thor really felt like what a Thor story should be. Like Chris Hemsworth does a good job of being like, I don't know any other way to describe it than when I read Thor dialogue on a comic book page, that is exactly what I expect him to sound like in my head. Like just that kind of raw, deep, kind of ancient kind of way of speech, I guess, is a way of putting it. But yeah, I think Thor is something really unique, especially to the time in which it came out. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like I mean I am a sucker for like anything related to mythology. So like
Yeah.
the inclusion of characters like Heimdall, Odin, obviously you have Tom Hiddleston's Loki. All those were like just really hit the spot for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, the only problem I would say with this is the storyline with the humans, with like Darcy and whatever else their names are. I
Yeah.
feel like that lets it down a bit. But overall, it is still pretty solid.
Something I found out recently as well. I didn't know this until recently that it's actually directed by Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, it is.
None other than Hercule Poirot himself. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that
he did.
definitely explains the
Thor.
style of the movie.
Mm. Yeah,
And Tom Hiddleston's Loki. Come on, that man is a masterclass. Like, I would
yeah,
never expect Loki to become that level of popular that he is now. And I think that is partially due to the weird enough charm that Tom Hiddleston brings to Loki. So yeah.
It is a lot of charm, especially for like a villain. And yeah, how
Where
are
should
we
we put
feeling
this?
about a low A, high B?
I would put it low A. To put it as
Yeah,
B, I mean I don't think it would be um worthy of crucifixion to put it B, but
yeah, I feel like, yeah,
it feels wrong to put it B. You know what I mean?
yeah, makes sense.
So yeah,
Yeah, A is reasonable. A is reasonable. Low A.
yeah, yeah. I think
I
the
guess
majority of phase one we can be a bit generous as well.
I guess and the next one we have another of the um like solo superhero movies where it's Captain America: The First Avenger. The MCU's one of the MCU's only period pieces.
I know you like the period piece genre.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm just such a sucker for like set design and stuff. So when they really go all in on the period, it does like tickle my brain a bit.
Yeah.
But what do you think about the first Avenger?
I think the first Avenger is a really solid watch. My biggest kind of issue with it is everything with like Red Skull, because I think Red Skull works better if he is like Captain America in like the modern time, because both of them will have the man out of time kind of vibe, kind of arc with them. The interesting thing to see there is the comparative in what they do with that. Steve looks at the man out of time and sees an opportunity to make things now better than the way it is and the way things turn out. He kind of takes that adversity and kind of punches it in the face and be like, I don't care, I stand for what's right, kind of thing. Red Skull, on the other hand, takes a look at the modern world and sees how much worse it could have, sees how much worse it is. Like the world he was living in during World War II was already something that he didn't like and therefore was trying to change with like Hydra and things like that, right? But in like the modern world, it's basically his worst nightmare. So it's really interesting to see Red Skull in that kind of scenario. So I do think, yes, while he belongs in the period piece, I don't know, Red Skull is a bit meh for me. But overall, First Avenger is still a really, really good movie.
Mm. I think like I'll highlight the opposite of what you said, and like the whole first act with the arc of Steve like growing into and realizing that a better person is more important than a good soldier,
Yeah.
and especially even the CGI of Chris Evans' face on the skinny body surprisingly holds up like decently if you don't look too hard at it.
Yeah, it's
So
it's
I'll say yeah,
2009 VFX. It's pretty good.
yeah, it's pretty enjoyable, but you don't expect anything too great for it,
Yeah.
and therefore I would be inclined to say a pretty middle B.
Yeah, I don't mind that. That's pretty good. Where it is.
Yeah, let's do that for now.
And the big hitter?
Yep, and we're moving on to the first powerhouse of our roster today, Avengers 1, or Avengers Assemble. Just in hindsight, absolute classic.
Easy S.
Easy S, yep, easy
Easy
S.
S. Like, as much as we like to clown on Joss Whedon and his corniness, man, does he know how to make a good superhero movie. Like,
Yep.
Avengers hits all the correct notes. It hits the crossover, it hits individual character arcs somehow within a teamwork movie. It hits like the cohesiveness of bringing together like how many? Five, 6 movies worth of investment.
Oh yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Yeah.
Five movies worth of investment, and it just knocks it out of the park.
Yeah. Just like give that man a good, simple, uncomplicated blockbuster and he can definitely pull it off well. And that's what we see with Avengers 1.
Yes. It's just
Yeah.
so good.
Like the biggest challenge they probably had to face when going to that was probably balancing the different tones and like individual personalities of characters that they were using.
Yeah.
Where, you know, like we've mentioned before, their individual movies go from unserious to, I guess, fun and enjoyable to just like dead serious. But all that has to come together
Yeah.
well in Avengers 1, and they did pull it off. So easy as.
I think it was super strategic as well to make Loki the main villain of it as well. Because not only is it like for you to be putting this big cast of characters together against a new threat is a bit of a challenge. So why not make it something that we already know and something that was so surprising that Loki survived that fall
Mm.
from the Rainbow Bridge, right? So
Yep.
yeah, I think that was really really smart. So easy as yeah.
Yeah. And the choice to just have the other antagonist being just like faceless alien army just gives you like very easy way to show off
Yeah.
your character interactions while they just blast like pretty basic villains.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Also, this is where the Thanos seed started, like all the way in 2012, only to come into effect like what 6 years later.
Yep.
Yeah, insane. All right.
And I
Next
guess
one.
moving on, we have surprisingly the first trilogy to be completed, Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3.
This is the one famously with the fake out Mandarin, which we'll get to that in a moment. Any opening thoughts?
um, I think Iron Man 3 gets too much hate and not enough love for what it was trying to do. Because Iron Man 3 kind of had the hard part of rounding out Tony's arc. You would think that Avengers does it sufficiently, and to an extent it does, right? Tony's whole thing about putting a suit of armor around the world and protecting people like at the expense of his own personal identity, right? And he has to come to terms with I'm Iron Man for life, that's who I am, right? Um Iron Man 3 I think sufficiently comes full circle with that, in which Tony gets to realize that he is Iron Man, but he's also Tony Stark, and those two things can go hand in hand. That was something that I think in Iron Man 2 and in Avengers, that was something he was struggling with, in which he couldn't kind of differentiate himself between the two. He was always one or the other. When in Iron Man 3, finally he realizes that he can be both. And he can be both, not at the expense of the people he cares about, especially his whole thing with Pepper in that movie as well.
Mm. Yeah, I do really like Iron Man 3 as well. I think it is, while not the best of the three, it's definitely a very, very close second.
Yeah.
Where in this one, instead of giving Tony like a physical threat he can beat and just punch away, he instead like he realizes that the biggest threat to himself is ironically just himself, and especially the billionaire persona he cares so much about.
Yeah.
And I am one of the very few people who think that the fake out Mandarin in this is like not a great choice but a justifiable one, where it helps to drive the narrative of Tony having to face like a non-physical threat.
Yeah.
That like he works well in that regard, I'll say.
Yeah. But the biggest letdown factor of this movie is the antagonist. The whole I am the Mandarin thing. Doesn't work for me. Like I can see why they would want to do something like Extremis and AIM, but it didn't. I don't know. It wasn't satisfying. Like they didn't do it right. I don't know how I would do it, but it just doesn't feel right. You know. Definitely feels like a
Yeah.
waste of like AIM, considering how AIM is such a big player in like the comics as well. Like you have MODOK with AIM, right? Like it's such a big player, and for it to be and for Iron Man 3 to be the only mention of AIM throughout the rest of the franchise is a bit sad. It's a bit of a waste, and yeah, that's why Iron Man 3 kind of goes downhill.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it is a symptom of like the early stages where they were just taking every organization they could find and just like trying to put it somewhere.
Yeah.
That's where they miss a bit of aim. Yeah, but all that said, I would still say it is a high B, at least for me.
Yeah, I will put it at high B too.
Yeah, we'll put it as the highest B for now.
Yeah, sure.
And then we have a messy one. It's Thor: The Dark World.
Oh no. I don't even know where to start with this one.
Mm. I'll just start off by saying that like they try to do so many things, but honestly none of them work at all for me, and we'll just leave it at that.
Like, I again, same thing that I said just now with Incredible Hulk. Thor: The Dark World feels like it had no direction from the start. Like, they had to like they them. I feel like they themselves didn't know what they were doing, so they were like, "Hey, let's just pull a random cosmic antagonist out from a bag. Oh, Malekith. Oh, cool. Let's do that." So, yeah, I try to think about it positively and be like, Thor: The Dark World was a stepping stone in the Infinity Saga in which it introduced the Ether, and that's it. That's all it did.
Yeah, but I really feel like they didn't even intend for the Ether to be a stone
Yeah.
until much later, especially when they were doing it. So like nothing really sticks for me, man. I guess the only thing I remember about this is like Stellan Skarsgård running naked around some sort of monument. That's literally the only thing. It is what a waste of
I don't
everything they built
remember.
up.
Did they plan this? Did they start like foreshadowing like Jane's cancer thing in this movie or no? I don't remember.
She does have a bit of the Ether in her for like briefly, then they managed to extract it. But I guess you could say they just missed a bit, and that's where it comes from. But
Mm,
it's it's not really a huge plot point even back then.
yeah. I like to think that Thor: The Dark World isn't as bad as I remember it, but I think it's still bad.
As someone who has rewatched it in the last 3 years, it is as bad as you think it is.
Okay. First D?
Yeah, but read my mind. First D,
Yeah, that's fair.
it's a bit of a waste.
Yeah.
Then we move on to actually a series of heavy hitters where we have Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Just glorious, man.
Glorious. I will fight for this. Easy S.
I wouldn't say easy S, but it would still end up in S for me, so we'll just move it up there first.
Okay.
Yeah. You can go first.
Man, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Firstly, in the movie's name, Winter Soldier, one of the biggest plot twists in comic history. They just pulled it off so well. Sebastian Stan's performance as the cold, unfeeling, uncaring Winter Soldier was something so special to watch because there was nothing like that on the screen at the time, right? Yeah, and the whole thing about like Captain America is this front running superhero who's like truth, justice, and the American way, right? But I think Winter Soldier takes a very unique route. I'm saying the word unique a lot, my bad. But it takes a very special route in which it's like, hey, your government ain't all it cracked up to be, and is doing all of these backroom stuff, and it explored a lot of really cool things with Hydra. We even got Arnim Zola on the TV screen. I never thought we would get that in the MCU, but yeah, it's just such a good movie.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people I've seen who did like rankings or just like discussions of the MCU always put this as somehow like either number one or number two spot. And while I feel like it doesn't go nearly as high for me, it is still like just a glorious watch from start to finish.
Yeah,
Solid action, really great character arcs for Captain America, and also like I guess the introduction of a different side for Nick Fury and Black Widow would both been introduced earlier, but now we get to see a whole new side of them.
yeah. Oh, Winter
Yeah.
Soldier also introduced Falcon, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that's a simple one,
crazy.
but yeah, it does introduce him too. Yeah. But like we'll get to this later, but like it does directly set up some of my favorite individual movies in the MCU, so this gets a really high spot for me.
Yeah, same. S, right?
Yep. Yeah, S.
All right, awesome. Next one.
And we have first Guardians.
Ooh.
This one, depending on the day, Guardians 1 goes into my MCU top 5 easily, I feel.
That's fair.
Then, obviously, I'm biased as like a huge fan of James Gunn's work.
No, but I think Guardians also is very haha unique. Guardians is also very very special in a way that it's the MCU's first step into their cosmic side, and which is something that I think it's not something that Marvel is very famous for anyway. Like the cosmic side is, to be fair, the cosmic side is very complex, and it's an entire interwoven web of like intergalactic like empires and characters and things like that. But I think at this point in the MCU, to show that there are more worlds out there with different kind of characters, and out of all of that there's this goofy team of misfits that somehow work together, I think that that's something really compelling at this time in the franchise. So Guardians is also very, very high for me.
Yeah, it seems like we bring this man up every other episode, but James Gunn really just has such a distinct storytelling device where he uses the ragtag group of misfits kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is like probably the first real demonstration of that, where we get to see these like funny but likable characters going on like a huge adventure across like planets and stuff. And obviously great soundtrack.
Yeah. Great soundtrack.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, the gun doesn't miss. The gun just doesn't miss.
The gun doesn't jam.
The gun doesn't jam. Yeah.
Are we feeling A or S?
I feel like putting it in S is glazing it just a little bit too much. But it's glazing that I'm unashamed of. Put it up in S.
Put up in S? Sure. We'll put it at the bottom for S for
sure.
now. Yeah, it's like a bit in the middle, but... And moving on, we have Avengers Age of Ultron.
Again, Age of Ultron, something that's not appreciated enough for the kind of movie that it is. Yes, I absolutely agree. Ultron as a one-time villain, probably criminal, right? Especially with a performance like that from what's his name? James Spader.
Yep.
Especially a performance like that. Insane performance. But yeah, I think Avengers Age of Ultron was a really good, like, mid-tier but still really good cohesive team story, in which, again, Joss Whedon manages to pull in such a wide range of characters and fit them into this one story. Like, Age of Ultron had no build-up at all. Like, there was not really... Is there? No. There was no mention of Ultron except from this movie, which is insane and insanely ambitious to pull off. Which, to be fair, wasn't the best, but it wasn't bad either.
I feel like the very best thing this movie does by far is the introduction of Ultron. You know, the first scene where he crashes the party in like his body made out of scraps. And he goes on to like rant about morals and stuff. That is absolutely incredible. But if you ask me, the rest of the movie kind of falls a bit flat, especially if you compare it to the powerhouse that was Avengers 1. But that's just my personal opinion.
I think Age of Ultron is also where you can pinpoint the start of the Avengers coming apart very, very slowly, right? You get very, very heated exchanges between Cap and Tony. You get like Thor slowly branching off into kind of doing his own thing, right? Which is actually very normal Thor things, right? So this, you can actually pinpoint... Sorry, go ahead.
It even has like Hawk send off planet at the end.
Yeah, as well. Which was definitely a choice. That was a meh choice to me, but you know, we'll see later on. Like, I will like it. So yeah.
Yeah. So, like this, I would say, it's a low A or high B for me.
I think for the James Spader performance alone, it gets a low A.
Gets a low A. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
Like, man, that Ultron performance, the scene where he pulls apart the clone and then he gets like his new form. Oh, so good.
Yeah. It's like Ultron saves the movie named after himself. What a surprise.
Also,
low A.
Scarlet Witch at Quicksilver. Come on.
Of course. Yeah.
As a mutant fanboy, I was like, we're getting close, but we never got there. But we're getting close.
Yeah. I mean, it was a start. And Up next, we have a bit of a breather. It's Ant-Man 1.
Hmm. Yeah. Wasn't this supposed to be directed by Edgar Wright? It was, right?
It was like I feel like for a long time it was. Then they suddenly went ahead and didn't do it for some reason. I'm
Hmm.
not really clear on that.
Ant-Man would have been such a good character to put in the hands of Edgar Wright.
Yeah, what a shame. In another world, we would have gotten it, but
But never in a million years would I have expected Paul Rudd to be Ant-Man.
mm, I mean, I didn't really know who he was before that. But the one thing I'll say, Ant-Man 1 is objectively just hilarious.
Yes. Yes. Ant-Man holds up just like a really good comedy movie.
Yeah, I like that is the extent of praise that I would give it though. Other than that, I'm not really sure what to say.
Yeah, like I feel like the entire thing about sidelining Hank Pym is the one thing I don't really like. You're not going to If you're not going to put him in the Avengers lineup, fine, sure. If you wanted to do an older Hank Pym, sure, he could be a mentor to the Avengers or like a sideline character like where Nick Fury is, that kind of thing, you know? But to have
Yeah,
a Hank Pym that's completely already disconnected from Shield, and might I add, hates Shield, it's a choice. Like, I don't think it was the right choice. I mean, obviously it still works to an extent, I guess. But yeah, to me, kind of wasting a good character there.
yeah, wasting Hank Pym and like a pretty weak villain just puts it into a
Yeah,
lower B for me. Like,
yeah.
only thing it has going in my eyes is comedy and the one truck driver guy, Lewis, I think was his name.
Luis, yeah. He's really funny.
Yeah, a glorious character.
Yeah,
We
I'll put
agree
it
with
B
you.
too.
A low B. Yeah, so low B.
What's next?
What's next? Oh, what a glorious movie. Captain America Civil War.
Oh,
Easily,
easy.
easily, easily my favorite MCU movie of all time, bar none.
Mm, I can see that. Yeah, Civil War.
Right
My
smack
God,
top,
what a
right
time
smack at
to
the top
be
S.
alive and in the cinema.
Yeah. Oh my god. Just thinking about it, it's like the whole like the whole Team Cap or Team Iron Man thing was so huge even at a time where like barely anyone was on social media and it was like I don't know, Facebook. Was it Facebook? It was. Yeah.
Yeah, like
That was
yeah,
just crazy.
Team Cap, Team Iron Man was like the pinnacle of societal tribalism. Like, my
And yeah,
God, so good. And
even following the
Spider
sorry, you
Man,
go. Yeah.
Spider Man, come on, God.
In hindsight, the amount of stuff that they managed to cram into this basically makes it Avengers 2.5.
Yeah.
You have you have the introduction of Black Panther 2, like what a glorious
Oh,
entrance. And then you also have like the proper collision of Tony and Cap in their respective moral arcs.
yeah.
You throw Bucky into the mix and it just becomes an absolute cinema. Absolute cinema.
Absolute cinema. Insane. Like, man, Civil War was such a good move. I think I remember, even though I knew it was gonna be banger, I remember being so surprised by how good it was. Like, it was easily maybe like one of the best movies of the year.
I wasn't paying attention that much that time I was young, but then yeah, it is absolutely incredible. Like nowadays we no longer come to expect like great character arcs and moral like
Yeah,
complex morals from the MCU, but this just put it off so well.
yeah. Civil
Mm.
War was truly like, I think especially at the time they were like, Marvel was still going strong, but it was kind of hitting like a kind of weak zone where everything's kind of died down after Avengers and stuff like that. And then Civil War came out and it shot back up to life.
Yeah, and like everything following this is just like the home run of the Infinity Saga, and that is history.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we move on. If we move on, it's gonna be another banger, Doctor Strange, 2016.
Ooh. Ooh. Hmm. Man, Doctor Strange, another really, really good movie. Stellar performance, Benedict Cumberbatch. Like, at this point in time, I could not think of a better Doctor Strange than him. like the mystique of Doctor Strange, the and also something that I think Benedict brings special to this Doctor Strange is that the amount of arrogance that he initially has, which slowly shifts from arrogance to wisdom, which is very prevalent in later appearances that Doctor Strange has. So, yeah, I think it's such a good movie.
Yeah, like what a trip! What a trip watching this in cinemas,
Mm-hmm.
where you have like the crazy visuals of like Kamatach and the whole mystic arts. What a
Yes,
trip!
like the Ancient One enlightenment scene. Oh my
Yeah, yeah,
god,
crazy,
masterful.
crazy. And even like the story still like it stands strong without having to have any crossovers. Where, like you mentioned, you just have like Stephen Strange going through the whole arc of self-discovery and
Yeah,
coming out a better person. That is, it's just solid stuff.
dude, we get Dormammu in the first movie that he's mentioned. Like that was insane. We go to the dark dimension in this movie. It's insane.
Yeah. How do you feel about low S for this?
Sure, sure, absolutely. I
Sure.
would give it an S.
Yeah. Yeah, depending on the day, this is another one that goes into my MCU top 5, usually.
Yeah,
Just
I can see
what a
that.
great movie.
So good.
And next we have Guardians 2. Thoughts?
Hmm. Guardians 2. Okay, my defense for Guardians 2 will always be that what it lacks in cohesive story and like just as a movie, like it's kind of lackluster, but what it lacks in those areas, it makes up for with a whole lot of heart. There is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is one of the few MCU movies that really tugs at the heartstrings in an unexpected way. And that's something I really love, especially in this genre, right? In the genre of high octane action sequences and bing bang boom VFX, you at its core, Guardians 2 is a story about a father and a son, and that is something that's really touching, and that's something that I really really like.
Mm. Yes. Yeah, I mean, Guardians is my favorite trilogy of the MCU, but I feel like this is the weakest one, not because it's that bad, but because the
That's
others are
fair.
just that good. Yeah, and I think it suffers a bit from having, I guess, a bit too much in
Mm-hmm.
common with Guardians 1, with both the visual style and also um the themes with like family and stuff.
Yeah,
But you're right that absolutely like the best part of this is the dynamic between Peter Quill, Yondu, and Ego.
yeah.
That is the best part of the movie.
Like,
So
yeah, I think Guardians 2 kind of Guardians 2 actually doesn't really feel like a Marvel movie per se. It just feels like any sci-fi movie.
I guess yeah, it is personal. It is very James Gunn, and for that it's good.
Yeah. It has its own charm, but
Yeah, I could see that.
to which kind of led to its own downfall. Because it didn't because it also feels like they were trying, like too much is happening in the same movie. You know, we have all these converging storylines which do come together in the end, but somewhat unsatisfyingly.
Mm. I could see it as a middle B.
I can see that as well. Yes. Definitely a B.
Yep.
It just
We'll just put it in
doesn't quite
between.
hit A, sadly.
Yeah, let's do that for now. Still solid though. And up next we have Spider-Man Homecoming. Hmm.
Ooh.
Um,
Ooh.
I'll just go out and say, like, one of the weakest entries in Phase 3. Like
Yep,
there I said it.
that's fair.
I'll stand by that one. Yeah. And not only because of the great Spider-Man movies we've had way before this one, but also the fact that I don't know, man, there's just a bit too much Iron Man in this, and that's an
Yeah.
understatement.
It really does feel like Iron Man 3.5.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like it's gonna come up a few more times as we progress through the roster, but I really don't like the thing they do where like, a lot of future character, especially villain motivations, have something to do with the Battle of New York and the resulting fallout
Yeah.
of that. Yeah,
Like, yeah, that was my issue with Vulture as well. It's like, okay, he doesn't have to have that kind of tie-in. Like, it's not that serious. Just make him an everyday run-of-the-mill villain. Like,
yeah.
Vulture has his own
It's so like
reasons.
shoehorned in. Yeah,
And
it's so
this could
shoehorned in.
be like a perfect movie to set up why Vulture hates Spider-Man in the first place. So, again,
Yeah,
I
but then
think
they
they're
just
overcomplicating it.
they just go like the cheat way, and okay, it's like, oh, okay, like the Avengers kind of did this again.
Yeah,
And
kind
even
of.
then, yeah, like Peter doesn't even get to like he doesn't even get much time to shine on his own in his very first
Yeah,
proper MCU adventure, and it's just a bit frustrating.
like somehow I feel like he had much more of, like like you said, the spotlight. Somehow I feel like he had much more of a spotlight in Civil War than in his own movie.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
So it's a bit sad. By no means a terrible movie, but meh, it's alright.
Yeah,
I would put it B, low B, low
lowest
B,
B.
low
Yeah, I mean,
B,
sure. I
maybe even high C, honestly. But
was gonna say
actually,
C at first. Yes,
mm,
I guess B is less punishing. Let's do B.
yeah, sure, low B.
What else? The next one is Thor Ragnarok. Easy S for me.
Ooh,
Would you
easy.
agree?
Yes, easy S. Easy
Easy
S.
S.
It's something so new for Thor. Like, the style and take on the character is so new and so refreshing. Like, never in a million years would you think someone like Taika Waititi could make a movie that not only still stays true to Thor's character, but kind of rebrands him into, for lack of a better word, a hunk, but a hunk with substance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
Yeah. I think like Thor Ragnarok it's got this retro feel to it which when added with like the whole cosmic kind of setting, it just works. It's such a good time as well.
Yeah, and like of all the elements that they introduced, you have like the Grandmaster, Sakaar, and of
Mm-hmm.
course you can't forget Warrior Hawk. All that actually is just good stuff. Like plain fun.
World Breaker Hulk. Oh my. World War Hulk was something different in comics. And the fact that they decided to make him World Breaker Hulk in this movie is just it's just cinema. It's just cinema.
Yeah. Like a complete 180-degree overhaul. I was like tone up to that point. Just
Yeah.
completely worked for the character.
Yeah. Easy S.
Yeah, I feel like easy as easy as. Yep. And next one we have Black Panther.
Black Panther. Okay.
Obviously
I want to
tragic
hear what you think
with
about this.
what I think about this.
Yeah.
Or I feel like it's gonna be a bit of a hot take where I don't think it's nearly as great as Untouchable as most people think it is. I'll say it's definitely good. Ryan Coogler and then music by Ludwig Göransson carries it. I feel like it's good, it's great, but I wouldn't say it is the epitome of the MCU, unlike what I've seen from most other people. What about you?
Um I don't know about epitome, but I think it is one of the strongest entries that Marvel has had solo movie wise. Again, this is completely spun off of Civil War as well. And for good reason. People want to see Black Panther on screen. And it was something so new to like the universe, especially with like the entrance of Wakanda. That is something so revolutionary to like just the world building, right? I think not only is Black Panther a masterclass in showing culture and family and the importance of that when it comes to being in that role that T'Challa is uniquely in. I like that behind the mask of the Black Panther, behind the whole thing about being a superhero and being someone that fights for the weak, right? Behind all of that, T'Challa is still first and foremost a king of a nation, and that is something that I love that they explored in Black Panther.
Yeah, I feel like with like Ryan Coogler at the helm, he's just always really in tune with like, I guess, culture, ancestry,
Yeah,
and yeah, those kind of stuff. And that is really on full display here with the conflict of T'Challa and Killmonger. That's easily the best
yeah.
part of the movie.
Ugh, Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger performance was impeccable. Like that, the final scene where he stabs himself at, where he pulls out the blade at the edge of the cave, and then like that line of like bury me with the ancestors, like throw me in the sea just like they did with my ancestors. Where did you go? Bro disappeared. Well, guys, I think you're stuck with me for a little bit. Yeah, I think Black Panther is just a really, really good movie. Like, performance-wise, like Chadwick, rest in peace, Chadwick. He really put his whole soul into that role. In which that it kind of, I don't know, it kind of like the way he played it also kind of shaped T'Challa, which is unique to who he is on screen. So much so that like, especially in the comics, like they kind of steered the character more to what Chadwick brought to that role as well. Oh, he's back. Oh, what's up?
Yeah, sorry. I had to run for a few seconds, but I did hear everything you said. And I feel like, yeah, I would definitely agree in terms of like characterization. But the final battle really sinks it for me. I feel like that's kind of a boring take by now, but it really does. I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah. What do you think about ranking?
Personally, I would give Black Panther an S.
Okay, sure. And as I mean, no strong opinions for me. I'll let you have this one. Just put in
Thank you.
like my pick would have been high A, but S is reasonable, I feel.
Yeah.
And next we have another heavy hitter, Avengers: Infinity War.
Oof.
The goal of 10 years of build-up summarized in 3 glorious hours.
Oh god, Infinity War was 3 hours, wasn't it?
I guess it was close. It's been a while.
I remember at the time it was like 3 hour movie. How preposterous! I'm not sitting in a movie theater for 3 hours. But then they were like, but it's Avengers. Like, okay, I'll sit in the movie theater for 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, Avengers: Infinity War. Obviously, the best part all of us remember is like the months of build-up before that, where everyone was just reading fan theories, videos, and what a time to be alive.
Yeah, man.
Especially being kids and all, and when you see all 30 of your favorite characters just like clash on screen,
Yeah.
it is glorious.
For me, Infinity War is actually the weakest Avengers movie. Not because it's a bad movie, by no means. It's because I felt that it was the least of an Avengers movie. Mostly because it had like the different plot lines going on just felt very fractured. Even though they're fighting the same guy, and in fact they did fight the same guys, but I don't know. For me, it just didn't feel like an Avengers movie. Sure, you have the Avengers on the ground, and you had the proclaimed Avengers in space, right? And I understand that that's how the movie needed to have gone, and it went well. It worked, right? However, if I'm judging it as an Avengers movie, which is something I'm expecting when I sit down to watch Avengers Infinity War, it is a tad bit disappointing, in which for me it doesn't do what it needs to do, which is bring a cast of characters together for a common threat. Sure, it does that in 2 separate locations, which isn't that big of a deal, I guess, but I don't know, for me it was kind of iffy with that kind of choice.
I'll have to strongly disagree and say that this is in fact my favorite Avengers movie, for exactly almost the same reasons that you mentioned, where we have watched our characters work extremely well together in Avengers 1 and 2, and we have saw them like fracture and fall apart. And the fallout from that, especially Civil War, I feel, needs to be felt. It can't just be resolved quickly.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Avengers Infinity War is just a great way to do that by introducing a threat that none of them can face alone, and they could not, in fact, do that. And that's why it ended up the way it did.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point.
As for that, like,
I'm sorry, I just have to say I hate the Iron Spider suit.
yeah, that
I
is a
hate it.
one thing.
It's so ugly. It's so bad. I mean, okay, it gets positive points for the arms. Okay, sure, but like at that point, just give it the red and gold. I don't know what's so hard.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like I really am a sucker for like lowest point kind of scenarios in larger narratives.
That's fair.
So that's a lot of flowers from me.
I do really like that they lost for once. Like that's
Yeah,
something really really interesting to explore, which definitely pays off in Endgame later on.
yeah. I would settle for an A for this with your qualms about it. I wouldn't be mad with an A.
Um, I won't be mad with a low S either. I still think Infinity War is a really really good movie.
Okay, I'm just gonna say that our S tier is kind of bloated now, with like 7 entries compared to being A. But sure, we can do low S. We'll arrange this later.
I think in that case we can put it at A. Let's put it at a high A.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can live with that. Yeah, it still has a special place in my heart, but I can live with that.
Yeah.
And we'll move on to Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ah,
Ant-Man and the Wasp only proves me right when I say that they're wasting Ant-Man characters.
yeah, I completely agree with this. You can go on.
Like not only do you not give me Hank, you don't give me Janet either. And at the time in Ant-Man, I let them have a pass and be like, okay, Janet's lost in the quantum realm, sure. And that's why we don't have a Wasp. And then you're like, hey, let's give their daughter Wasp. And I'm like, okay, sure, I guess. Yeah, and Ant-Man and the Wasp is really inconsequential for me. It has a non-impactful antagonist. Its storyline is messy. Again, it does still kind of hold up as a comedy film, so I can give it that, I guess.
I would say it is much weaker of a comedy film than Ant-Man. Like,
Yeah.
not only, as I said, is it messy, I feel like it does suffer a bit from the fact that it is between two of literally the biggest movies to ever
Yeah.
be made. And to just have that be a fun comedic adventure just doesn't sit right with majority of people, including myself. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there really is nothing to say about this. I would be a bit harsh and say D.
I will put it in D as well.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It's,
But still before Thor Dark World. We just have to clarify that.
yeah. It's still better than Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah,
It makes the
Okay.
points by being a comedy movie.
I guess. Sure. And next is Captain Marvel, another of our
Ooh.
bridging the gap movies.
God, Captain Marvel. I will say, Brie Larson really tried, and I really appreciate that. I think she had a really, really good performance. But overall, I think we were all expecting Captain Marvel to be this big, really good solo movie, and it just, it kind of fell flat a little bit.
Yeah, it had the burden of expectations again, where like Nick Fury literally summons her as the world is going to shit, and so you ask yourself like, what could possibly like, what could possibly warrant Nick Fury calling upon her to come back and like basically save the whole world at the time?
Yeah.
And what we get is instead unmemorable. It's the most
Yeah.
generous thing I'll say. Unmemorable.
I really feel like they wanted some kind of heavy hitter, an additional heavy hitter in Endgame. So they were like, let's just introduce Captain Marvel. And let's do Carol Danvers since she's the fan favorite, which she is. But yeah, it was meh. Jude Law also kind of wasted.
They somehow wasted him, and yeah, even with the introduction of the Kree and Skrull empires, which are like really cool to me, it still doesn't manage to save it from being just unmemorable.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll be inclined to say low C, maybe even a D.
Mm, I will still give Captain Marvel points for being a good female solo lead movie, because that's something we don't really get a lot of at that time, and I can appreciate the effort that it made to try and make the world feel lived in, right?
Alright, and next on our list we have what is arguably the greatest cinematic or media event that anyone from our generation will ever live to experience. Of course, we're talking about Avengers Endgame.
Yes, sir. Oof. Endgame is a big one. Probably one of the, I would say one of the biggest crossover events ever.
Yeah,
Probably one of
definitely.
the biggest.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, its competitor is Justice League, which is not great. But yeah, Endgame is such a trip, man. It's such a crazy time to be able to go to a cinema and experience Endgame. What I would give to have that experience for the first time again. You
Yeah,
know?
you know, like being like a kid witnessing Infinity War with all your friends and then like having to wait one whole year in which you just spend it like, theorizing, reading all the articles, some of which are clickbait, but then we still read it anyway. Because like everyone,
Yeah.
everyone was just trying to grasp onto like even the weakest like theory or clue they could find. And that was the level to which like Endgame was just able to take the world by storm, which is incredible.
Yeah. Like the year between Infinity War and Endgame might have been the longest year of my life, just waiting rather impatiently, be like, please, please, I need to know how this ends. I need to know how this ends. Even though it's like, okay, they're definitely gonna win because they lost Infinity War, so now they're gonna win. But like, still, like, it was an insane thing to watch and
Yeah.
experience.
And for what it's worth, it does pay off. Like Endgame is
Yeah,
a really simple story of like good overcoming evil. It's straightforward. You don't get like twists and turns other than like what you expect. So it's just such a simple story, but what it relies on is like the fun and also the memories that you have built over like the last 10 years, 3 phases, 20 movies. All that stuff just comes like crescendoing in Avengers Endgame.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's safe to say, like, S, pretty good S.
Yeah, definitely deserves an S just for like skill alone. I mean, like it's not
Yeah.
flawless, but like the sheer ambition that went into creating this.
I think our other stuff in S is still better, but like by virtue of it being this epic conclusion and portals alone, I think that deserves an S.
Yeah, the entirety of the final battle is like one or even like two short films crammed into one. You know, like 1 hour you just like fight, and then like it's not like you'll get bored of it. It's like every second something new is happening, and
Yeah.
you've told me this before. Like it is overstimulating, but in a good way.
Yeah.
So
It's but I can rewatch that battle over and over and over again. It's so rewatchable.
yeah, a low S, probably the lowest S for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
Yeah, what do we have next?
Next up, we have Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Oh, I know you have a lot to say for this one.
Oh, you're too kind. Um, Out of all the Marvel movies, especially the mid to low range ones, I think I will always defend Far From Home for what it is, because mainly because it accomplished what it was trying to accomplish, right? Um, Mainly I'm grateful for the fact that um, it accomplished itself by being Peter's first independent story, out by himself, doing his own thing, solving his own problems, fixing the mistakes that he made. Um, this is better because the other comparative is Homecoming, aka Iron Man 4, right? So, um, Far From Home was really good in that aspect, as well as proving Peter's independence, as well as they just did Mysterio so well. Everything from his kind of motivation to the way he does his illusions and stuff. Like the suit, bro, ripped out of the comic page, kind of suit. Like it was amazing. Uh, like interstellar like performance from Jake Gyllenhaal. Uh, the one nitpick that I will have is like his he didn't need to be tied to Tony Stark. Marvel,
Yeah.
like we need to stop with the whole Tony Stark connection thing.
Yeah,
Like
like it's the same thing as with like Vulture and Homecoming, except this is probably better.
yeah,
Yeah.
leagues better.
And I will say that like I don't think I have like a heavy opinion on this because I did watch it once on an airplane, then I never went around to like rewatching it, you know. So it's like it is a pretty good airplane movie for what it's worth. Just like something you'll forget maybe a day or two after you get off the flight.
Honestly, that's so true. You probably forget about it very easily. But yeah. So like in perspective, like relative to Homecoming, I would put Far From Home one tier above Homecoming.
I mean, yeah, we put Homecoming at the very bottom of B. So, I mean, I would have personally said like towards the top of B, but if you want a low A, I can go for that too.
Yeah, if you can put him like the lowest A,
Yeah, we can do
I
that.
will settle for that.
Sure.
All right.
And
Next up,
yep.
the entry into something that comes out just as COVID hits, which means it's the perfect opportunity for everyone at home to watch it. None other than WandaVision.
Yep. And this is like the very first one that was released out of a series of sort of rushed streaming series that Marvel was trying to put out at the time to capitalize on the new like streaming hype. And for a first series from for such a big production company, WandaVision is really really unconventional and like creative above all else. You know, the whole format they have going on
Yeah.
with the sitcom stuff.
Yeah, like I can really commend WandaVision for probably being one of the most creative Marvel projects. I would even go so much to say it's maybe probably the most creative. It's up there with like Guardians and like Thor Ragnarok and stuff. But yeah, it's just I was just amazed by how original it was and like the things that it did with like a message about like grief as well as like kind of how that can make a person go kind of crazy, especially one that has reality warping powers, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like superhero media, like at its core, it has to be like genre TV or genre movies, you know, where you sort of expect
Yeah.
it to fall into a sort of frame. But then WandaVision just takes like the whole genre and flips it on its head with like brilliant homages to a lot of classic sitcoms. But also, like, they don't stop there. That's the best part, you know. They like go
Yeah.
one step further and try to twist it or use like 4-4 breaks, meta context, stuff like that. And that really enhances it, you know. There's like stuff like the part where Wanda tries to roll the credits on Vision. That's the standout moment for me. Like, what a creative way to use the structure that you built yourself.
Yeah, that was so good. I would say, like, surprisingly, my standout for WandaVision, surprisingly, it actually comes at like the later point in the show. Like 2 out of 3, 2/3 of of the series is like top tier amazing mystery, right? But like after that, it does kind of drop off a bit. I guess you had to go back to reality at some point. But my standout scene is like when Vision and White Vision stand off in the library, and then they have the Ship of Theseus conversation. So that was my favorite scene. I thought it's just really well written.
Yeah, and I mean, WandaVision can also be credited to basically like launching the careers of like new rock stars and heavy spoilers and all those other guys, where because like you had nothing to do for from week to week, stuck at home, and then like
Yeah,
I guess that also contributed to what people felt with the third act, the last part of the series, where it's like all the expectations you have built up cannot possibly be addressed, and so people get disappointed naturally.
I can hear Eric Voss in my ear.
Mephisto confirmed. And it is fun though, and it is like that alone became iconic for him, where everything's just like Mephisto, Mephisto, Mephisto.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I really believed it too. I really thought they were gonna do Mephisto.
I didn't know who he was at the time, so I was just following along for like shits and giggles. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would go easily high A for this.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, if it were
I'll
just
go high A.
the inside the reality bubble stuff, I would give it an S. But then unfortunately, episode 7 to 9 did happen, but still it is good.
Yeah, it's still pretty good. Yeah. All right. What's next?
The second Disney Plus streaming show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You can go first.
I can go first. Okay. I really, really love this show. I love Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And that's mainly because um I love Sam's arc. I feel like this is such an important place and an important point in time that we needed to have this arc. Like the whole Sam's internal conflict about whether or not he internal conflict about whether or not he deserves or like is worthy of the shield and the Captain America mantle, and like his whole dealings with that while still being in a world where he has to fend for his super ordinary family who is kind of being trolled by the government because they blipped. um like he also has to deal with um how the government is treating him, as well as the whole wanting to be Captain America while being a black man was a really interesting scope that they decided to explore, and like the whole thing with like Isaiah Bradley and stuff. So I really really like that angle that the show took.
Mm. I mean, like, I did enjoy it as it was coming out because like I like everything MCU back then, but then also like I would say for me, the parts of the show that I really really liked and the elements that I think weigh it down are almost like perfectly balanced. Where on one hand
Right.
you have like the stuff with Bucky, the stuff with Baron Zemo, the stuff with John Walker, of course. Those were like easily the standout parts of the show. But then if you ask me, I would say that is weighed down a bit by Sam's arc. You have inclusion of Sharon Carter and who
Yeah.
else? The Flag Smashers, the antagonist. Pretty weak antagonist if you ask me. So it's like
Yeah.
I would agree with what you said about Sam's arc being like a lot of potential, good setup, but then like the way that
Yeah.
they followed through felt slightly like black and white to me, you know. But I guess that's the
That's fun.
restraints of the genre and format or whatnot. But yeah, that's just my thoughts.
I think the nature of it being a show instead of a movie really helped with giving them more time and more space to kind of grow the depth of the arc. Not just Sam, but with Bucky also. Like I'm sure like during like Civil War, Winter Soldier, we had a lot of like tells about the kind of things that Bucky had to do while he was under control. But it was really Falcon and Winter Soldier that really hit the nail on the coffin. Like the whole thing about he's best friends with this old Japanese guy who lives next door, but then he realizes that he's the one that killed his son and then sent this man's life down in a rabbit hole, and then he has to deal with the consequences of that himself, and like the fact that he wasn't in control but still feels like it's his fault. Like I feel like these are the kinds of arcs that you simply don't have enough time for in a movie, because the movie has to have the whole story curve where you have to go and have your down point, you need to fight the villain, you need to have all these sequences, all of that. So I think in a show like this kind of material is allowed to breathe more, which is why I really like it.
Yeah, that's what I'll definitely agree on that. Like I mentioned, like the Bucky going to therapy part, honestly, is like so needed for the character, and
Yeah.
you couldn't have done it anywhere else. And also like, ironically, my standout moment in the show is when like Bucky and Sam help Sam's family, like do some repairs or
Ah,
something. I
yes.
forgot. Yeah, and then you get like the theme song playing, and that's just like it's so far detached from like superhero stuff, but that is ironically the best part of the show. Like just the heart of these two characters.
Like sometimes I think the best part about like superhero media is when they show that superheroes can be normal people too, and they have their own normal people problems, and I like that. Like even Superman has his own everyday normal human problems, right? And that's like I really like that aspect of just superhero media in general.
Mm. I guess like just as a reunion tour for like all the Captain America side characters ever. I guess yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is
yeah.
yeah, it's good that it exists. Oh, the one thing I don't like is like Joaquin Torres Falcon. That I feel like that is pretty unnecessary, but we'll probably get to that later. I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll get to that when we talk about Brave New World.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I guess that is it for today's episode.
we didn't rank it. Where do we rank it?
Oh yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I would. It's a high B for me.
High B. Ah, I don't know. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier is pretty deserving of an A, but I will settle. I will settle for a low A if you are willing to compromise.
Yeah, I'll give it this one low A. I mean, sure, the good parts are definitely a low A. Like John Walker. John Walker's a low A.
John Walker, U.S. agent, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like him. Like it's him, Bucky, and Sam who carry the show.
hmm. And like the Zemo cameo for like I don't know
Yeah, yeah.
an episode. Yeah.
Zemo dancing in the nightclub
Yep.
that carries the show.
The
Yeah.
Madripoor is also a pretty interesting location that unfortunately they never went back to. Just being like
Yeah,
it's like Singapore but dirtier. I mean like that
it's
alone
just
is
there.
interesting enough.
You know, they could. There is another avenue for them to go for, just like Marvel to go back to Madripoor, but it's a very big like Wolverine kind of X-Men thing that they could do.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. We are kind of running out of time, so we will probably finish this tier list in a part 2. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. All the normal YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned next week for part 2 of this tier list. Drop your takes, controversial hot takes in the form below. Tell us whether you think, I don't know, Thor: The Dark World is the best MCU movie or whatever. But yeah, and we will judge you, but slightly.
Slightly.
So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.